Hey, this is Drodio, and I am so excited to tell you about the next version of Storytell. Let's start with where Storytell is today. This is Storytell in production. I can do very sophisticated analysis of, let's say, a CSV file against an entire collection of files with NPS data to do things like predicting churn risk. Storytell will automatically suggest a prompt for me that is a better version of the question that I just asked. When we suggest the better version of the question, we automatically do things like pulling in data from the actual documents that I'm trying to analyze to improve the question. We've got a very sophisticated large language model router, which will let Storytell pick the best model. I can also override that router if I want to pick a specific LLM to answer my query. We have a prompt library that allows me to save prompts and share them across teams. I can invite people into collections to share insights with me. When I send the prompt, Storytell shows me its reasoning, how it arrived at the answer. It gives me a very sophisticated answer with citations so that I can see a lot of detail. I can download the results as a CSV. I can export them to other areas. So this is Storytell in production today. It's being used globally by enterprises. We take trust and security very safely. We are HIPAA compliant, SOC 2 Type 2, GDPR certified. You can think of Storytell as business-grade intelligence across your data. Now let's look at the next version of Storytell. And you can think of it as a difference between chat and an agent. So let's talk about what it means to have an agent. Let's say that I want to analyze 2025 company performance using internal sales, customer, and operational data. Working in agent mode is different than working in chat mode. We will still have chat mode right here. But now, not only that, we'll also have the ability to automate with automations. And let's go back to agent mode here and talk about that for a second. Going back to the current version of Storytell in production, I ask a question, and then I get a response, and then I ask another question. So that's the chat functionality that exists today. But with agent mode, I just tell it a declarative end state that I want, and Storytell will go out and figure out how to get it all done for me. Let's take a look. The first thing is I can decide if I want to be using just my knowledge, all of the world's knowledge. I can choose a large language model, or I can just have Storytell auto-select it for me. Once I send this off to the agent to start to get work done, Storytell will start to process the request. It starts by analyzing the request and saying, what's the user really asking for? How complex is this? Can I handle this directly? How confident am I? Storytell does an intent analysis. It figures out what the time period is of the ask. It figures out what the temporal info is, what the response characteristics need to be. Then, Storytell will plan a strategy, and it will figure out what are the ways to break it down and what tools does it need to call in order to run this strategy. For example, here you can see it's doing an internal search of the knowledge base of the internal data. It's doing a web search to gather market data, external data. Storytell looks at critical potential issues. How will we know if this is working? What does success look like with this answer? And then Storytell starts to actually do the work. So you can see here it's searching the knowledge base. It's searching the knowledge base again and again. And now it's starting to do a web search. So it's doing both an internal and an external search for this data. It found a lot of external data as well. And now it's starting to actually generate the artifacts. You can see here that to answer this question, Storytell has started with a comprehensive Q2 performance analysis. So where are we today? This artifact just generated on the right side. So you're chatting on the left and you have the result generating on the right side. This performance analysis includes all sorts of data: regional performance, sales pipeline health, CAC information, CLV information, segmentation insights, etc., etc., etc. It's really in-depth. And although the system looks very simple to the user, it's incredibly powerful from an organizational perspective with role-based access control, admin usage and billing plans, source data integrations, user instruction templates and user memory, including the ability to load templates in so Storytell will answer in certain ways to different types of users from the beginning. Let's look at what Storytell just did behind the scenes. We asked a question, Storytell analyzed the intent, it planned a strategy, it did a search of the internal knowledge base, then it decided to do some web searches, then it decided to create one artifact, which was the current status artifact, and then it created the other artifacts about the answer to the question, and the system decided to do all of this on its own. So this is the power of the agentic version of Storytell. You tell it where you want to end up, and it goes and figures out how to do it all for you. That is what is coming. And there's so much more to talk about around automations and actions and the ability to have these things run every time there's new data. Can't wait to show you the next version of Storytell. Thanks.